cell layer. Sugar, sugar doesn't make anything better. Always causes inflammation. It causes inflammation of the end organ, and it causes the guts to open up to let these big proteins through. Something else that can do it. So for example, if you have thyroid disease, you are almost certainly going to be susceptible not just to milk protein, but also to wheat protein. Now, why should that be? What's wrong with wheat? Wheat is a natural product. Why should our bodies react against it? Well, it's not so much the wheat. It's what we've been doing to the wheat over the generations. How we've adapted the wheat so it can survive different climate environments. What we put on the wheat, the certain pesticides we put on the wheat, that all triggers this autoimmune response. So when I'm treating people who have thyroid disease, the two things I make sure they stop eating are milk and wheat, at least for the first few months. And then we find that those antibodies start to die down because they don't remain, they go away. The more sun you have, the fewer episodes of multiple sclerosis, and in fact, the fewer autoimmune problems you have. Now you might say, but we live in a hot country and we've got lots of autoimmunity. The problem is we don't expose ourselves enough to the sun. We need to get out into the fresh air, into the sun as often as possible with our shorts, with our t-shirts, and expose our bodies to the sun, let the sun get into our bodies, and then it will do its healing effect. Because vitamin D does something that no other drug can do. Vitamin D is what is generated when the sun hits our skin. Now what it does, it is able to suppress the autoimmune antibodies, but at the same time boost the good antibodies. We're not random beings, we have actually been created. And I think the immune system brings that out. Our soldiers, when they see something they don't like, the white blood cells, they will bind to it and they will destroy it. It could be, for example, this cancer cell, it could be a virus. Without us even thinking about it, these cells go out and do our bidding. If we had to think about everything that these cells do, we would have no time for anything else. They do it without our help, without our instruction. This forgiveness is, I believe, at the heart of health. If we can learn to forgive ourselves and to forgive other people, we can be free. So let's take some encouragement. And the number one thing is that God sees when we've been mistreated, and He will restore. When God restores, He doesn't restore you back to where you were. When He restores, He takes you to a better place than you were in the past. You look in the Old Testament, if somebody stole an ox from you, they couldn't just give you back an ox. They'd have to give you back 4 oxen, 7 oxen, sometimes 10 oxen. That's God's definition of restoration. So when we're being mistreated and we want to be bitter towards that person, we have to remember that God will restore.
जो वो प्यार तुझसे मिला कोई नहीं हाँ कोई नहीं इन सांसों में तेरे सिवा भूलूं ना मैं उन बातों को कैसे भुला पाया तू वादा करके तोड़ देना अच्छा नहीं है यूं
भूला नहीं तुझे मैं हूँ यही दिल में तू ही तू बसी ना थी ना है ना होगी कोई और baby it's you the one that I adore
दिल में एक अजब सी हलचल मचाए जब जब तेरी यादें ख्यालों में आए कैसे भुलाऊं मैं कोई तो बताए क्यों होता है ये दर्द इतना जो सताए इतना जो सताए इतना जो सताए
How do you reverse autoimmunity? The first thing you have to do is remove all dairy and wheat products. I've just said that because your antibodies are being raised to the proteins within those proteins. The next thing is to eliminate refined sugar. It keeps coming up, refined sugar.